The Nigerian film industry is approaching its 30th year, and some of its finest talents have transcended the different generations of this multi-billion naira industry. Joke Silva is an actor, producer, director, and businesswoman. She started her acting career in the early 90s and has won numerous awards, sat on different panels, taught many classes, and she's still doing the work, entertaining millions of Nigerians and non-Nigerians, and being a template for many actors in Nollywood. My name is Bolanle Olukoni, and on this International Women's Month special, I'm joined by the amazing and ever so gracious Joke Silva. Welcome, the Joke Silva.
Hello, Bolanle.
You know, Auntie, I'm going to call her Auntie on camera because that's what you are to me. I've had the opportunity to work with you on Project Fame, and you were such a great mentor. And that was one of my first TV gigs, and you would always look at me reassuring, like, you got this, because I was terrified.
I remember.
It's so good to have you on here. You look stunning as usual.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to talk about the industry because you've been such a legend in this space, and you've evolved so much. And my question, though, is, in your opinion, do you feel like the industry has done a lot of evolution? Yes, we're moving to cinema and we have different genres, but what's your take on the evolution of the industry?
I think in some areas the industry has evolved and evolved forwards, and in some areas it's evolved backwards. Yes. Honestly, in the sense that, when we're saying evolved forwards, one, there's just so much more work now than the time when I started, or even those who were before me when they started. So there's definitely more work now, and it's nice that the cinemas are coming back, and we're getting even more proliferation of cinemas, and hopefully by the time the pandemic is over, like I keep telling people, the human being is built for community. Yes. And so whether we like it or not, once the pandemic is in check, we will get back to community, and so we can have more cinemas. But now, where are we evolving backwards? For me, I think it's in the storytelling.
Okay.
I think that the storytelling is because we're so focused on returns on investment, we're insisting that, these are the only films that do well in cinemas. For example, now, to get any kind of collaborative work with some of the gatekeepers, they'll insist on comedy. Now, what if you're not a writer of comedy, but you're a writer of really strong stories? Right. Like Kemi Adetiba's King of Boys. I mean, where's the comedy in that? But it was brilliant. Right. And it made the money, and it not only was there return on investments, there was a huge return on investments, okay? So in that way, and we, in the early days, we were telling really good, strong stories, and stories that were giving us an idea of where we needed to go. So I think in that area, and also my pet peeve, the area of budgeting.
Now, who do you think is the cause of that? Because I understand what you mean when you say, the area of budgeting, where you go on a set and the producer, and it's a producer's job to always say, there's no budget. But do you feel like it's because of the fear of lack of return on investment, or is it a cultural thing where we still expect talent, crew, everyone to make, the meager returns, and rather to be paid and compensated with such little sums? It's from what I would call the new gatekeepers. And a lot of the new gatekeepers don't understand how the industry has evolved to where it is now. If you go back to the times of the Ogun days, right, the traveling theater, what they did was that they went for all the jobs, and it was a collective. Everybody shared what was made. Do you understand? Now, what people tend not to realize is that the most important people on any movie set, the cameraman and the actor. Without those two, you have nothing. Right.
Do you understand? And so the other industries, the other influential industries in the world, whether it's Bollywood or Hollywood, they understand the necessity for the actor, and that is why they are so well compensated. Without them, you cannot get your audience.
Right.
And so you need to compensate them very well so that they bring their best to the fore. For now, we will not have that Oscar film until we get, the right story. That's also in the right story, the right actors. And, and to get actors who will give that kind of Oscar-worthy performance, they need to be able to immerse. If they can, and they can only immerse if they are comfortable.
Right. So I want to find out, you've talked about gatekeepers, you mentioned that. Who are these gatekeepers? Are you talking about?
I'm not going there.
No, not the specific names, but are you talking about distributors, or are you talking about, the people that sponsor the films?
You
What
see,
category?
sometimes you're talking about distributors, and then you are talking about distributors who are also producers, who are also, there's almost a clash. What's the word now? America has a word for it, where there's, I've forgotten now. It seems, there seems to be such total control, too much control. The word will come to me, and so you have to break it up. It was a time, there was a time when the Big Seven owned all the theaters in America, owned all the production companies, and they had to break it up. Otherwise, the industry wasn't going to move.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you've talked a lot about storytelling, and also I want to talk a little bit about typecasting and also the portrayal of women in film and in our industry. In your opinion, before this, we were talking a little bit about fashion and style. And I was talking about my dress. Does this designer have non-form fitting clothing?
Yes.
In your opinion, how is the portrayal of women in the industry and Nigerian films right now affected our idea of what it means to be a woman? Do you think that there's some room for growth in that?
Yes, I do believe there's a lot of room for growth. One is the fact that, there's this stereotyping of women. We are either witches, whores, saints, or sinners.
Right.
The eternal wicked mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's not true. That's not the reality. And women are a totality of, they can be exceptionally good, but they are also flawed. So don't give us a standard that is impossible to reach. Do you understand? And don't tell us that we are the pits, and so you need to cage us and watch us because we are capable of flying in the night and doing all. Do you understand? Then in this portrayal of the woman, the ideal woman to be, flat stomach, did everything nice and tight and all that, and I believe the women's movement has gone beyond that. The women's movement, we whatever form, whatever shape you are, is an ideal shape. Do you understand? Is an ideal shape for you. Be fit. That's the important thing. Be comfortable in your body. Appreciate who you are, and be
small sense.
Yes. Do you understand? Have that, because I believe when we portray our women like that, then for the girl child, it's attainable. And once it's attainable, then she can fly. Do you understand? Yes.
We are not done yet. Rubbing Mind continues right after this. We'll be right back.
This is a Rubbing Mind special for International Women's Month, powered by Lipton.
Wanna get with you. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove.
You just mentioned the girl child, and you've done a lot of work when it comes to advocating for the girl child. But I want to talk a little bit about the I'm Priceless campaign and why it was important for you to lend your voice to that.
Okay. Several years ago, I read the story of a young man who had been taken, who had just wanting to get out of this country at all costs, took the Libyan route through one of our states, our northern states, and took the Libyan route. And it was a real life story. And he was lucky to come back but what he said, what happened on that journey, what happened to the women on that journey who tried to, they were trafficked, all right? They were harvested, their organs were harvested, they were turned into sex slaves. Some of them were turned into sex slaves. I mean, it was just, some of them never even got as far as Libya like he did.
Yeah.
I mean, he at the end of the journey, he called home and said, I just want to come back home.
Right.
Do you understand? And it then coincided with the time when the UNODC invited me that, they wanted to, they were looking for ambassadors on human trafficking, especially women. And I had already read that story, so I was ready. Right. I said, yes, I really want to be part of it. I want to lend whatever fame, influence one has to that cause. The trafficking doesn't only go, it's not only outside of the country, it's also within. I'd also had the experience with my church where we were working with women too who had been trafficked. Do you understand? And this belief that women are objects, the girl child is an object, that not only is she an object, she's also objectified, and so she's easy prey.
Right.
So it was just all that one wanted to work with that. And a lovely girl, she died in a terrible motor accident. She was behind the I Am Priceless campaign.
Yeah.
She was on the Blue Heart campaign. And I think what was beautiful about the I Am Priceless campaign is that it's even the phrasing of it, I am priceless. Getting that message across to young girls, to young women. You are priceless. If you think of yourself as priceless, there's, there's a pushback from you when you are being objectified. Do you understand that? So that was the thinking behind it.
Auntie, I know that you're very passionate about different causes, and also you've talked a lot about the way gender is portrayed in films. Does this now affect the kind of roles that you pick and choose? And do you find that, this perspective that you have, you can contribute it on a set and say, is there a way we can adjust the portrayal of women? And do you find people are receptive if you do that?
Yes, they are receptive, but usually, there are several questions rolled in one. Right. What you're asking. Now, do I pick and choose? Sometimes, when I'm not broke.
I love the honesty.
When I'm not broke, you do understand. When I'm not broke, I pick and choose. Yeah. But when but you see, sometimes even those scripts that come when I'm broke, and I do it, I pray. I say, God, you mustn't see the light of day. Which is so naughty of me. The late Amaka and myself, we used to laugh so much about that, and sometimes he doesn't see the light. But yes, I look for, I try to look for films that show women as strong, but also slightly flawed, and but their strength overrides the flaws. Okay. Yes, so that there's there's a sense of there's a hero. We can, because it's important for us to have heroes.
Right.
Now, sometimes where I see that there's a way we can adjust this script, what I always try and make sure of or try to find is a solution. So if I say that this character is not working because, I must come up with it. I'm not just going to say, oh no, this isn't working and I'm not going to do it. No, I must come up with a solution so that we can, we can work out, and it works with the entire story.
Right.
It's understanding what does the writer want to achieve with this story, and then come up with a solution that also serves his story. Yes,
Yeah.
or her story.
And I feel like also it might be they'll be a bit more receptive coming from you because they know that you're a veteran and you've been part of so many productions that have been successful. And they say, well, if Auntie Joke says, let's go with that.
Yes.
And I think that that's important, and I commend you for doing that on set.
Thank you.
I want to talk about the gatekeepers, but even more the ability for women to rise in this industry. It's exciting times. We're seeing so many. All of the highest budgeting films, they are female directors.
Exactly.
So there's something
They
there.
prove the point.
There's
No,
something
but
there.
they just prove the point. If you want to do something well, there's a saying that we have in Yoruba, Obe to dun, owo lo pa. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So, and the women who have risen to the top in this, and who are the movers and shakers in this industry, they know that, and so they go after. Make sure that they get the kind of budget that makes it easier for them to achieve what they want to achieve. Yes,
Right.
definitely.
Now, I want to talk about perceptions.
Okay.
The perceptions of women, especially for the industry, the actors
Yes.
and actresses face,
Yes.
where there's a lot of idea that there's a lot of sleeping their way to the top. How do you think that can be evolved, that perception can grow and change, where people are like, I'm an actress, and it's seen as something that's more respectable? Because I find that narrative is still being heavily flogged. And I don't think people realize that a lot of actors do have great opportunities and are making some sort of incomes that allow them to live the lifestyles that they're living.
Well, I think one of the ways, there are many ways, there are myriad ways in which we can fight that narrative. One of it is tell stories of women who have achieved, just put out stories out there of women who have achieved without sleeping with every Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Right.
That's number one. Number two is is also when women see those stories, they should push back on those stories. Don't allow those stories to settle. I think there was a young man at one point who came out with these stories about this person can't do this because they are doing that. That person, I pushed back. I said, excuse me, who knows where so and this other person got their money from?
Right.
That's not. What is the story? What is this person doing? What has this person achieved?
Yeah. Thank you for that. So there you have it. As Joke has said, it's possible. No, and it's very important that narrative, it's exhausting. It's an exhausting narrative. The theme for International Women's Month is choose to challenge. I want to find out from you, when you hear that, what does that mean to you, and what are you choosing to challenge?
I choose to challenge so many things. I don't know which one I'm going to I think we've spoken about some of them.
Yeah.
Changing the narrative that a woman cannot get to any position without having slept her way to the top and still, sleeping her way around. I think I choose to challenge the fact that, meritocracy, that women do get to the positions where they get to through merit, a lot of them, I choose to challenge that, and I also choose to challenge the stigma against mental health. Yes, for me that's very close to my heart. Yes, that stigma against.
Is there a specific incident or an experience that has made you kind of come to that?
Well, there are quite a few people that I love who are going through that challenge,
right? And
it's not easy. It's not easy. For them, and neither is it easy for their caregivers, and in a society that doesn't allow them to be free. Do you understand? When I'm talking about free, just allow them to be amongst you, knowing that they have that challenge, but don't make a song and dance about it. Do you understand?
I see what you're saying.
Yes.
I see what you're saying. Auntie Joke, thank you so much. This has been so insightful, and thank you for the legacy that you're living, and just for being yourself. Your essence is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you so much, Bolanle. That was fun. Thank you.
This has been a wonderful conversation with the Joke Silva. Don't go anywhere. Rubbing Minds will be right back.
This is a Rubbing Minds special for International Women's Month, powered by Lipton.